I guess we're live.
What?
And it's the New Year's. It's the New Year's Eve, right? New Year's Eve.
Is it the eve of the New Year's?
I don't know, but something's hanging out of my pant. Oh man! All right,
it was just his dirty ass sock.
That is correct.
Yeah,
those ugly ass Uggs that he has on.
All right, yeah, we gotta address that. All right, so Croc winter boots. This is the sport model, as you can see, sport boot. But essentially, this is a Croc, like
they're Uggs.
It's a Croc. It's not an Ugg.
That's an Ugg for men.
See the crocodile Croc, and it has a boot liner, so it keeps your feet nice and warm.
Crocs or something.
It is exceptionally warm. I was wearing them all the time whenever I walk outside when it was like 3 degrees last week.
So is the liner removable for summertime? So then
It's
you just
not.
have a Croc.
No, you have to get summertime Crocs.
Permanent line. Okay, you know what?
I also got a pair of Crocs that have just the word, they're orange, and they have the word carrots written on them.
Carrots.
You're
going to wear those when you use the carrot stick.
Oh, fuck yes. Absolutely.
I saw those were hideous.
Hold on.
The day that carrot stick.
What's your email? I'll send you a picture. So put up.
If you can't send it to
tackletalklive@gmail.com.
Is it not, send it to the page Facebook, and we can pull it up there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, do that.
That makes sense. Just something with MRBS.
So just for anyone that's wondering, those are the carrot Crocs in question.
So when you snap that carrot stick in half, you'll be wearing those.
Yeah, probably.
That's not what I'm gonna do. So,
Good old carrots.
Paul, how was your Christmas?
my Christmas, I mean, it was good. I may have asked for a couple of things that I didn't get. So because I didn't get a $300 item, I bought a $2,600 item.
That is the logical thing to do.
Yeah, right? 28 after tax.
Yeah, that is the absolute logical thing to do.
I asked for a GoPro. I wanted another GoPro to throw on the boat, and I decided that since I didn't get a GoPro, I was going to buy one scope.
See, there's consequences to not buying Paul a GoPro.
Paul just puts himself in debt.
I have a question for you. CMC jack plates. Are you familiar with them at all?
CMC?
Yes. I was watching a video today where it was a Teen Marine video, and they were saying everything you need to know about jack plates. They were saying that CMC makes a very reliable, bulky jack plate. However, in terms of performance, like it's not going to raise and lower as fast as the Atlas and the Bobs, but they say it'll pretty much last as long as you want it to last. But it's loud, and it's like it gets the job done at a friendlier price point.
I've never heard of a price point.
I don't know. I gotta look it up. I'm gonna look it up right now, actually. But I was just curious because I've actually never heard of them. Like everyone, I guess. CMC, Charlie Mike Charlie. I'm gonna look them up right now. So basically, what we're gonna talk about today, I guess, and it's gonna be a shorter episode, is the goals.
You can buy them on Amazon if that tells you anything.
Okay.
Should we fish this weekend?
I would not be against fishing this weekend.
So I can tell you that Mansion Cove is still completely iced in. I drove down to the ramp today. The Rumsey Island canals are mostly iced in. There's some open water back there, but like by the tennis courts, like the main canal, like going back to the back, is still pretty iced in.
What about the crappy spots? Probably not going to be able to.
The crappy spots are all back where the ice is.
Yeah.
Back in the bowl, the bowl, Mansion Cove, that's all iced in.
So
Upper Bay, if you're going out, Upper Bay is open. I went over the river today and didn't see any ice up there.
I don't even know how to fish there in the springtime, so the winter time probably.
Just go with him.
So CMC is actually owned by TH Marine. Interestingly enough, it used to be independent, and now they bought it, and then now it's their own line, which is very interesting.
We'll just do an Atlas or a Bob's.
Well,
Just drop the money and get the Bobs.
Yeah, I mean that's probably what I'm going to do, but
I mean they're the same price as the Atlas.
So hold up, I've been hearing you say you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do that. So what's going on? Now we're doing a jack plate.
well,
Where's the poles? Where's the?
Well, it's all got to come together.
It doesn't have to come together. You're just doing a piece at a time.
Well, yeah, but you got to have the plate first to get the pole.
Oh, you don't have a
That's-
jack plate at
that's
all.
true.
Right, right.
He's true. That's
That's
right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm gonna.
So he's got to get jack plate and the poles at the same time.
Yeah,
I always forget that he doesn't have a jack plate.
Yep.
totally forgot about that. Yeah, I guess if you're just gonna do it, you might as well get the bobs. You won't regret it. But have you made a decision on just fully upgrading and decking out your boat, or just getting another one?
I'm not going to deck it out. I'm just going to, what I'm probably going to end up doing is I'm going to end up,
Just poles, jack plate, and 360. Call it a day.
yeah, I'm probably just going to do poles, jack plate for now.
Just right. Your poles, units, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's all can go to the next
All
boat.
can go to the next boat. So if you get 360, your next boat's going to have 360.
I want live scope and 360.
Got it.
That'll be so cool to like look on 360 and like look right at like a
Yo,
rock shoal or
look at that
something, and then take freaking live scope and look over at it and be like, oh yeah, there's a fish
Look at
right
that.
on it.
Look at that stuff.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, it should be fun. I should have it on before I go to Lake Anna in a couple weeks. So hopefully I can get it on, working, and then when I get down there, get it dialed in.
I don't know if Rob's ever used live scope.
He's never used he hadn't used 360 until he fished with me on the flats there one day. So I doubt he's used live scope.
It's a different experience.
It's fun.
I definitely found myself when I used it with John that I was staring at the screen a lot.
I mean, I stare at the screen all the time anyway. I mean, I don't know where to. It's hard for me to fish without 360. So like if I jump on the back of somebody's boat, it usually takes me a good like 15, 20 minutes to get my bearings right because I'm so used to looking at where I'm casting on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know like every cast, like I'm looking at the screen like grass, log. I'm making every cast of them instead of just kind of like blind casting. So it makes a big difference. I've used live scope before, so my best friend has live scope on his boat.
I hear one of the hardest things is really just getting the settings dialed in, good and clear.
So Frank said it was actually pretty easy.
Yeah.
He said there's very limited settings on Garmin to be able to adjust. So it's not like you have like 5 million different settings to adjust. It's either you gain up or gain down.
so he has Garmin on his boat?
He has Humminbird and Garmin.
Okay.
So he's got
360 in Garmin or
He's got 360 in Garmin.
Mega Live and live scope.
He's got 360 in live scope.
Wow.
But
There's guys that run two different types of freaking live scope.
Yeah, usually I've seen a couple of guys running Lorient's and Garmin.
Both
together.
live scope?
Yeah.
Why?
I've seen
It
it.
just seems like it's too much for me. Like
There's also so one of the Japanese pros that was in I think he was in the Elite Series. That was a buddy of mine. One of his friends was marshaling for him, and he was running 3 live scope transducers.
I don't get it. I don't understand it.
So he's got his one off the front that's on his trolling motor, and he has 2 mounted to the side and the back, so he can see live off to the sides of his boat
As he's freaking sweeping the banks and shit.
as he's going down the bank, like he can see the live image.
That's crazy. I mean, like
That's a lot.
I feel like the next big thing from Humminbird is going to be live 360.
It's next to impossible.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they may figure out a way to do it, but it's.
You know, we
I
keep
won't
thinking
say
we
I
keep.
won't say it's next to impossible because you can. I mean, essentially it would be like taking it's just a matter of being able to get the pieces into a unit small enough to make it useful. I mean, if you wanted to put something this big on the front of your boat, you could do it.
Right.
Essentially, you could just take like 4, well, it'll really be 3 live scope transducers and have them in perspective mode.
Right.
Circle around your trolling motor, and you have live 360. So it's possible, but it's not really practical at this point in time.
We keep on saying that how can they get any better? How can they get any better? And they always seem to drop something eventually that just raises the bar somehow.
Yeah.
Not a whole. It hasn't been over the last few years. There hasn't been really been
I mean, the live scope was huge.
But that's been out now for 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, so Panoptix came out like 6 years ago, and then the Panoptix live scope I think came out 4 years ago. So I mean, and now it's improved since then, but it's not like there hasn't been like a new technology. They can see just kind of like with side imaging. When side imaging first came out, it was super breakthrough, and then for years you just got improvements on it. Better picture and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think LiveScope's really that's where LiveScope's going to be for the next few years. Is just them improving the picture, because it's not like it's perfectly clear. If you've ever used it, you just see little blobs swimming around generally.
So now back in the
Unless
day,
it's like a freaking
The size and
muskie.
the size and their grouping is kind of what gives away their species. I don't think there's anything distinctively.
Well, if you get a
From
big
the
fish on
picture.
there, like a muskie, or a big pike, you can tell exactly what it is. I mean, it looks just like it'll.
Right.
But you're talking about a 40-inch fish, compared to something half that size.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I went
Smaller.
to Kentucky Lake the first time I ever used my hummingbirds, you could see the Asian carp on down scan. Like you could tell they were Asian carp by the tail because they had that distinct fork in the tail. That was one of the coolest moments ever.
Yeah, I've done that on the flats with carp. Like I've just been, trolling around on the flats, looking for grass. Before I had 360, and I ran side imaging on my front transducer on my trolling motor. And you just could be going around, and all of a sudden you'd see this big, mark off to the side, and you can see the big fork tail of carp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Need a beer?
No, I'm good. Now, did you ever? So I've heard back in the day that they used to have like the underwater cameras and stuff.
Still do.
But you can't have that in tournaments, right?
Correct.
So my question is, I feel like that and live scope are almost are very similar in that. I mean, I almost feel like live scope is more beneficial to the fisherman, because like a water camera, you got to get right on top of whatever it is that you're looking at.
Yeah, it's interesting. The AquaView camera it's a little different because you're dropping it down to the fish's level, so it's not like it's a piece of your boat. You're like dropping it down to the bottom.
But you also have a less of a view field with the AquaView, right?
I mean, you can just turn it around. It's just like looking at a camera,
Well, yeah, but I mean, I feel like with live scope is you can see like a general overlay of, I'm looking at a larger area.
You're actually looking at a smaller area because your live scope transducer only has I think it's like a 20-degree cone. So you're only seeing, a very small slice of the water.
Really?
So
it really
it's
isn't
out in
that
front of the
small.
boat, yeah. I think it's 20 degrees. That might be where it says 20 degrees, but it's a very, very narrow cone.
So what are the three, like there's three, like, I guess settings on live scope. You have like your overlay view or whatever, your forward facing, and then
so you have forward facing, down, and perspective mode. Perspective mode is flat. So instead of looking at a cone this way, you're looking at it this way. So it's still a narrow cone, but it's
so you don't really see depth. You more see.
You're seeing like a portion of the water column.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So a little bit better for shallow water,
Mm-hmm.
because you can you're seeing that small cone. If you don't get this much water, you're just seeing the cone. Kind of works like 360 that way. I probably won't even connect to the because I have 360. I probably won't even put the perspective mount on, because it's doing like double duty. Like, can you see fish swim? On perspective mode, sure, but I can see fish swim on 360. It's just it's just a matter of I'm a little bit behind on 360. I don't see live scope being. I in my experience with live scope, it hasn't been that useful in shallow water anyway.
Right. So that's the perspective mode. Now, what about the down mode?
Down mode is just it just changes the angle. So instead of looking out in front of your boat, you're just looking straight down.
So that's for like that vertical fishing.
Yeah, if you're like
drop shot.
the Mickey rigging or something like that, I could see it being really useful for that. Mickey rigging, drop shotting. Anytime you're fishing vertically, you can do. But you can also do that with the forward facing mode. The forward facing mode will still hit under the boat. So I mean, it'll hit right under your trolling motor. The down mode will actually go, farther back behind your boat. So again, I'm pretty much you're going to see it on forward mode with me, and that'll be about it. Had a lot of fun using live scope in Texas. It wasn't we weren't fishing like suspended fish, but we were fishing brush piles using it, and you could see a fish sitting above the brush pile, and you throw a Carolina. You could throw a Carolina rig. We were like flipping a Carolina rig, right? So we're in like 15 feet of water, but the brush pile would be like 30 feet in front of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to cast it. So you just got to flip a Carolina rig out there, and you watch it sink down into the brush pile, and you watch that fish just go. And you'd see your bait down the bottom. You'd see, boom.
Wow.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I knew that. I knew that I was gonna buy one. Fishing docks was the best part.
That's where I would, if I ever picked it up, that's where I would probably use it the most.
I'm not saying that we didn't skip over a lot of fish, because if they're sucked down tight to the bottom and they're not moving, they just gotta blend in with the bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like they do with any sonar. But we fished a stretch of docks that would have taken us at least an hour to fish. Pre-fishing, general pre-fishing. You're hitting all the pilings, trying to figure out where the fish are. With live scope, like these docks were kind of like parallel to the bank, so they were long this way instead of sticking out into the lake. You just run by them. Nothing on that pole. Nothing on that pole. Oh, there's one. Throw that pond. Franklin, throw Senko in there. Don't. I mean, and we were able to fish that section of docks in 20 minutes, and we caught. I think we caught 3 off of that section of docks, and we know, okay, these are all, it was a 15-inch limit down there, and they were all 14-inch fish. Like, well, okay, well, that rules out docks. Let's go look for something else.
Right.
So instead of wasting an hour of our pre-fishing time doing that, it took us 20 minutes, which is pretty cool. Then we went out and figured out that they were on brush piles, and we spent 4 hours marking brush piles on the last day of practice.
That was on Conroe, right?
Yeah. I think we had like 275 brush piles marked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Now, were you looking at them to see if there was fish on every single one, or just marking them?
Once we figured out that they were on them, we just marked them. So we just side scanned. We just started on one creek arm, and we went down, went to the back, came back up the main lake, down the next creek arm, back up, and just marked every brush pile that was planted out there.
So they're all planted brush piles for the most part?
Yeah, almost all of them were planted.
So what do you do when you want to go back and fish a specific brush pile? You just go over to where your mark is and then flip a Senko on it, or a jig, or?
You can fish brush piles in a lot of ways. You can throw a jig. You can fish a jig. We were fishing with Carolina rig. That was how we were catching.
How deep were the brush piles?
15 to 20. Most of them were 15 to 20 feet. We've had a couple in like 12 feet, but there's a lot of different ways to fish those brush piles. Like I said, we were throwing Carolina rig. You can throw a jig in there. You can throw jerk bait over top of them. You can throw a rig. Just fishing around the brush pile, not really down in them. Texas rig worm. Caught a couple doing that. I caught a couple on shaky head. Throwing a heavier shaky, I was throwing a heavier shaky head I had, which was 1/4 ounce. But just throwing shaky head. Caught a couple doing that. Basically, just like you fish any lay down. If you think about it, it's not really any different. It's just.
I find that
15 feet of water.
It's knowing where to cast.
Yeah, which 360 tells you exactly where the brush pile is. Live scope was a lot. The live scope helped. Sure. It helped us see. On the brush piles that we fished. It helped us see. That there were fish on them, but it hurt catching the fish, because those fish have been live scoped so many times that if they weren't out like 60 plus feet, like the brush pile wasn't like 60 plus feet away, if they were in like 40 or 30 feet away, as soon as you hit the brush pile with that fucking beam, you could watch the fucking fish just swim out of the brush pile. It was fucking insane.
See, that's crazy to me. like how that's starting to become a thing because
They're
there's-
sensitive to that.
Yeah.
well, there's
Well, because everybody's doing it, especially on brush piles like that. That's you're sitting still, you're fishing one specific target, and they're just getting hit with it nonstop. Those resident fish are going to learn that it fucking hurts when this fucking sound hits me. So let's get the fuck out of here.
it's basically Pavlov's dogs essentially. Like it's as soon as you hear that ping, I guess they just get out.
Do you think that could possibly slow down the use of? Well, I feel like maybe locally that could be where it hurts, but like as a pro, when you're touring all over the country,
It's it essentially just turns into learning how to read your forward facing sonar from farther distance away. So, getting it dialed in correctly so that you don't have to be 50 feet away from it to see it clearly, that you can see it clearly from 90 feet away.
mm-hmm.
So once you get that dialed in, that really helps with it a lot. That's not the only, that's a personal experience that I've had with it. I've also heard on the St. Lawrence that the smallmouth up there have gotten really wary on it. That if you're too close to them and you hit them with it, that they'll just kind of swim off. So like fish learn. So for all the people, all the forward facing sonar haters, the Randy Blackett's of the world, the fish are going to adapt to it, just like anything else. Just like they did to the A-rig. When the A-rig first came out, if you didn't have an A-rig, you're losing, right? I mean, Paul Elias, 131 pounds or something that he caught on A-rig in a 4-day tournament. It was just absolutely ridiculous. So it was so dominant that they fucking banned it from tournament fishing. Now, fucking A-rig's an A-rig. Like, does it catch them certain times of the year? Yeah, but you're not going to go out, just any day of the week. Like, if you only have an A-rig on your deck for the entire year, you're going to get your ass kicked because the fish have gotten used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. So I feel like forward-facing sonar is the same way. There's a lot of people that say, it's video game fishing. You don't have to. You don't have to do anything, and it's not sporting. Yeah, you're full of shit.
Being able to locate the fish and
Live
see
scope-
how they react to different things and use it to pattern stuff.
Live scope's not this magical fish catching tool. I know I have a personal friend that has had live scope for over 2 years and still can't catch fucking fish.
I guess we can't ask for his name after that introduction.
I mean, can he catch fish? Yes. Like he's okay, but he's not like going to go out. I mean, he's not going out and winning tournaments or anything just because he put fucking live scope on his boat.
Right.
He's went from 10 years in 10 years of club fishing, he's went from winning 0 tournaments to winning 2 tournaments. And that's not because of live scope. It's because he spent more time on the water. Because
he had live scope.
Because no. It's just because he spent more time on the water. It had nothing to do with live scope. Live scope hasn't made him a better angler. It doesn't. You have to know how to apply it. You have to know. Paulie, what's up, buddy?
What are we missing here? I thought it was another bot for a second.
I thought it was a bot for a second too. Right away, I was like, "Here we go."
No, Paulie was actually in my wedding, so he's one of my best friends, one of my oldest friends. So that I've known him since he was 17.
Very cool.
Comes out fishing with me every now and then. We try to get out once or twice a year.
Nice.
So he's not going to ask to spend the rest of his life with you if you.
I mean, he might.
If you send him your social security number and bank account information.
I'm pretty sure I'd only have to send him $20 a pack of Newports and a Pepsi.
Simple man. That's what I'm talking about.
That's an inside joke. See if he remembers that.
So I'm down. There you go.
So yeah, I mean, live scope's not, like I said, it's not a magical fish catching tool. It's just another tool. Oh yeah, see, he's DTF.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I feel like in this area, especially, it's like me personally, I've used it a handful of times on other people's boats, and it's very cool. I feel like in this area, like especially in the tidal water, it's the times where you could be successful with it are very limited.
I have very specific applications that I've already thought about.
Did
That
you
is gonna
see
be
the
super helpful?
Did you see the A rig that Huddleston dropped?
Who?
Did it have 5 Huddlestons on it? Did it have 5 like 10-inch Huddlestons on it?
No.
Because that would be badass.
I have seen one like that before, but
Can
no,
you imagine
that's
trying to
not what
throw
it
that?
is. Dude, you guys got this.
We
yeah.
stopped it.
So Huddleston,
We've stopped
Huddleston is a swim bait company from California.
We stopped
and
weighing baits in ounces and started weighing them in pounds.
They hold the record for like the most double-digit fish caught ever on a swim bait.
Yeah, they used to smash fish
Yeah.
in California
Um,
before they stopped stocking trout.
I gotta find
because they were
this.
worried about the stupid ass kokanee.
How come you don't use this reel anymore, Chad?
Do you hear it? It sounds worse than your freaking.
Wind it.
Doesn't sound too bad to me at all.
It's a little geary.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It
still
just seems-
smooth.
I don't know. I just can't stand it.
It just needs the main gear. That main gear needs replaced.
If it was right-handed, I'd give you $20 for it and walk out of here.
And Chad would laugh at you.
Why? If it doesn't use it anyway.
That is my frog reel.
Well,
Well,
first of all, even if he doesn't use it, it's still a good backup. You know, if a reel busts and he's got Thursday nighter coming up, and he really trashes a reel, he can slap that bad boy on there real quick and be all right. So yeah, that's my forward facing sonar. Oh, that's kind of gnarly. I could get down with that.
Tell me that's not cool.
I could get down with that. I wonder what it looks
Let me
like.
see this.
I mean, I always like I'm a big fan of like the paddle tail.
That actually wasn't like as swim bait stereotype as I expected.
I'll show you the exact
But I
bait. I have it right over here.
But I wonder what I'm wondering about is the way that having multiple baits on there affects the action, and especially with how fast you typically retrieve in a rig. You know, I've never speed reeled a Huddleston.
Well, these
little minnows you would.
Those look like a lot like those old storm shads that you used to get all the time. Does anyone still buy those at all anymore? You know what I'm talking about? The storm shad, they come in a pack and it's like,
Yeah, the pre-rig swim baits.
yeah.
Yeah, they're fucking killer for stripers.
Oh, yeah.
That's the weedless.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have a friend of mine fishes these all the
It's
time.
not that heavy, actually.
No, I think they're like half ounce.
My friend of mine, he loves Huddlestons. He fishes these like religiously in the Upper Bay,
I absolutely love.
and I have watched him
Huddleston?
catch a ton of fish on it.
I
That
just
exact color too.
really
Yeah.
on this bait, or he likes the bigger one.
No, that size. This
One
one right here.
these. Okay, yeah. See, for when you go up to the bigger sizes, we don't.
I think around
We
here-
have trout, but we don't really have trout in the freaking.
we don't.
You know
I mean, yeah. There's trout in Susquehanna, but it's not like there's
it's not a main.
the
for you,
trout
like-
patterns are for like those stock trout.
Yeah.
When they're dumping in. I was just listening to a podcast the other day. I can't remember who they were talking to. Somebody, but it was Ish. He was talking about when they were stocking trout out in like Shasta, and when they used to stock trout. And he said you could no shit watch the fucking truck roll up to the ramp, dump all these fish in, and within 5 minutes there's giant bass busting the surface.
Damn.
Just eating these fucking stock trout. It was ridiculous. It's like they knew like when the truck shows up. Like when the truck shows up and they start dumping fish, like the fish just go and just start plowing these stock trout.
Yeah, I mean, good for them and everything, but around here, I don't like. I don't know. I don't
I mean,
like that
you
perch
got
processing.
that perch-
However,
you got the nice
I
perch
like the
color
mag
right there.
draft. The mag draft is pretty much a freaking trout
You got that nice
platform,
perch
if you
colored
ask
hood
me.
right there. That perch colored hood's got to be, that's got to be good around
Yeah,
here. We have so many yellow
I
perch,
I don't throw it. I don't throw it.
I mean, you'd think it would be good.
I should.
You should.
I should throw it.
I mean,
Why not?
we
It's
got
a
a lot of
top, it's a
yellow.
top hook. It's not weedless.
Yeah, that's fine. You throw it back in the forbidden zone.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah.
Drag it around this rock, especially this time of year when the yellow perch are running.
Super successful in the mag draft, and I'm sitting here talking about trout, but at the same time, the mag draft is.
Well, I mean, think
I
about
would
how
say
big our shad is.
I would say it's like a trout.
What, the mag drafts?
Yeah.
It's shad.
Yeah, it's got. Well, I mean, I'm sure they make a trout colored mag draft.
They
right?
do, yeah.
There's
When
a
you see
couple
that,
lakes-
like when you're throwing like a white mag draft, they're eating it because they think it's shad.
Well, you want to know what the deal is for me this year? This spring, I'm throwing freaking shell crackers.
What's that?
Black dog bait shell
Black dog
crackers.
bait.
See that little
bluegill one
the
halfway
little
down.
bluegill one
Yep.
in the
Halfway down.
middle?
Yep.
That's a little top water wake bait shell cracker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll get down to it'll go down to about 2 feet.
If you crank it
you
hard,
crank it
I
hard.
think maybe. That's the G2, so that one might not. But I also
My same buddy that likes throwing the hoods, he that's one of his favorite baits.
yeah.
He throws that on the upper bay a lot too. I've watched him crack them. Like I've been with him when he's just like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw this swim bait. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like I'm throwing a fucking Senko on this grass line. He's like, got one. Like,
Yeah, I'm trying to gain my confidence in throwing the top water wakes and stuff. So I figured I would start at the shell cracker, and then
yeah, that's a good bait.
I did throw my Sherpa gill a decent amount last year.
Yeah.
Not I can't say
Sherpa gill's
I
such
can't
a big bait.
I can't say a decent amount. It wasn't that much. If I would have grinded on that Sherpa gill, I would have got something. If it wasn't a bass, it would have been a big ass snakehead at least.
I feel like you got a good idea starting with the shell cracker because it's a little smaller. It's a little more get bitty, so it helps build your confidence in it.
shell cracker.
It's something that you can get a lot more bites on. You get a little more halfway over on the far left. Keep going down one, that one. It's a little more get bitty, so it helps build your confidence in that technique. Because I don't know about you, but like if I went out there and threw like that fucking Sherpa gill, which is not a small bait at all, and I threw it for like 3 hours and didn't get bit, I would lose a lot of confidence in that. But if I threw something like that for 3 hours and I caught 3 fish, I'd be like, hey, let me tie this big sumbitch on.
Right. There's
yeah.
going to be so many times where you're going to throw this and not catch anything on it either. It's the thing is, I have the mentality with these things now, the same way as like you're going to go out and fish with a crankbait and not catch them on a crankbait one day. But we all know that crankbaits work.
Sure.
It's situational. It's situational, and it's grinding to figure out that pattern and when to apply it to a situation.
Like you said, my buddy fishes that bait
Yeah.
a lot, and he's had really good success throwing it on like grass lines. He's going fishing the gunpowder on it.
Yeah, a lot of people just like, oh, you just waste a lot of time and go out and what's up, Martin?
What's up, Martin?
You just waste a lot of time and go out and throw swim baits and such and such. So I'm like, no, dude. I'm like, a lot of times, honestly, like I'll throw conventional and I'll start connecting with fish conventionally, and then I'll try to connect with larger fish.
Right. Or
a swim bait trying to connect with that pattern.
Say, okay, now I know there's fish in this area. Let me fish the way I want to fish.
Yeah.
Because I know you're big on that. Like you like throwing your big baits, and that's what you find you get enjoyment out of.
Just trying to pick out the biggest fish.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I'll also just throw a freaking 6-inch mag draft or a freaking Citizen. And
I feel like a 6-inch mag draft is not like that's not a big bait.
it is classified in the swim bait community as
But think about like from a conventional sense. Like I throw 10.5-inch worms all the time.
right.
What's the difference between me throwing an 11-inch worm and throwing a 6-inch swim bait that looks like a 6-inch fish?
And then a freaking 10-inch worm is a hammer.
Yeah, but you catch a lot of 12-inch fish with a 10-inch worm.
You
catch a lot of 12-inch fish on a mag draft too.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So but don't take it like I throw it a lot just because I really have faith in it, and
Did we talk about that last week
One-
about the I think it was on Oliver. Yeah, we talked about it. Oliver's post where they did the studies for like bass population, and they didn't even count fish 10 inches or under because they were bass 10 inches and under were just bait.
Yeah.
So you think about that.
It's a lot of people just think it's crazy to do this stuff, but I'm like, it's not crazy. I'm like, you can't do it all the time and be successful. I'm like, but there's times where you can apply it
It's just like you can't
to the
throw
situation. Or honestly, it's
A
just
lot of
a
bait
hobby too. I'm not out there trying to be.
Right.
I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I'm just trying to I want to catch fish on a big bait just because nobody else is really doing
You
it.
get enjoyment out of it. And that's what's.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
that's
like
all that matters with fishing. Like fish what you enjoy.
Yeah.
I like throwing a buzzbait. I don't throw a buzzbait 365 days a year. Well, buzzbait's probably one of my favorite baits.
That TK up there, I'm excited to throw this year.
Yeah, that's a good bait.
The
And
TK
I know
is
that.
going to be cool.
I know that works around here.
Mhm.
I've seen it. Got my ass kicked by that.
It's going to
Well,
freaking.
At least partially by that.
It's going to be a big ass snake. It's going to freaking destroy that thing.
I don't know. It's
Could be.
It's like once July rolls around, I'm throwing a frog 95% of the time. Like it's just
You can't throw anything with treble hooks when all the freaking grass comes in.
Well, it depends on where you go.
if I can get if I think I can
You gotta
catch,
find.
I'd rather catch a limit on
Not in the Thursday
frog
nighters.
than catch 15
Well, I mean,
on
you-
a regular.
Quarry. Like you go to quarry. If you go to the quarry or go to the Forbidden Zone, there's plenty of places to throw crankbaits in that area. In the some of the places in the canals,
Right.
you can still throw crankbaits. Especially in the deeper sections of the canals where you can fish those edges, those grass
You
edges.
just
You can run-
foul up so often, especially when that tide starts moving and that grass starts freaking pushing and pulling out. You just
Oh,
foul up
yeah,
your
when it's on
crankbaits
top.
and stuff all the time. Oh yeah.
I hate that. God, I hate
It's
that.
like it makes throwing anything with treble hooks impossible. It's like basically you just have to go to throwing anything that's weedless or
Even
bottom contact.
It even fucks with a chatterbait because like
Oh yeah.
you'll get that like one piece of eelgrass that gets
It'll
like
just go
stuck against
down
the
the
blade,
line.
Yep.
and you cannot get it at all.
Yep.
It gets real bad up on the flats
After storms and shit.
when the eelgrass is up on the flats because so many people like on a high tide just run straight across the flats
Just chops it up.
and it just chops it up. So there's all this like floating eelgrass on there. So you go out there on like a high tide and you're like, fuck, I really want to throw a spook right now, and a spook would catch fish, but I can't keep it fucking clean.
Yep.
Pisses me off all the time. Not that people do that. The grass itself pisses me off.
Right.
Like, I don't care if you run across the flats.
Right.
I do it too. Like, no big deal.
Yeah.
Just sometimes I want to throw a spook on fucking flood tide. I can't do it because there's fucking eelgrass everywhere.
What's that new bait that Z-Man came out with?
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser.
Does that look good? Is anyone going to try that?
I looked at one of Susquehanna fishing tackle. the other
I'm
day,
not interested.
And
I may try. I may get one or two.
I just can't stand the way it looks.
It looks like a damn needlefish,
It does
Like
look a lot
it's-
like a needlefish.
which I've seen a lot of
There's a lot of
needlefish
needlefish around here.
in the bay.
Which surprises me. It surprises me that like Devil's Horse, like the Devil's Horse doesn't work as well as it does like down in Florida.
That's like the deal.
The reason they throw the Devil's Horse so much down there is because of the needlefish. There's so many needlefish down there, in the tidal waters, and we got the same shit up here.
Right.
Have I caught fish on Devil's Horse? Yes, but it's never been like the deal.
I haven't. I've never caught. I want to catch fish on a Devil's Horse. My biggest thing with it is every time I throw it, my braid gets caught up in the prop.
So I throw a braid.
Yeah. Or a leader. I'll probably tie a little leader next time and give it a try.
If you do it, if you just put like a 12-inch mono, like 20-pound mono leader on it, it'll be good. It just keeps it from bending.
Right.
Braids, I don't like throwing braid with treble hook baits, any kind of treble hook baits, because it's so flexible that like if you're throwing a spook, I don't throw a buzzbait on braid. I throw a buzzbait on fluorocarbon because of it being so flexible. Like if you miss one on a buzzbait, what happens? If you guys have thrown buzzbaits on braid, right? What happens? Fucking braid gets all fucking wrapped around it, right? You throw it on fluorocarbon and you miss one, you just fucking keep reeling because it didn't do that.
Right.
Same thing happens with I don't throw a spook. There's one topwater bait that I throw, and that's because I can't afford to replace it. I'll throw a Vixen on braid, just because I have a first run Vixen and I can't afford to replace it.
That's the River to Sea one, right?
No.
No.
Reaction Innovations.
Okay. What's the River to Sea walking bait called?
Rover.
Rover. Gotcha. Gotcha.
That's a decent walking bait too.
I throw all my walking baits on braid.
See, the problem with throwing it on braid.
I throw them on
is,
softer rods.
well, no, same deal as I was talking before. It's not when you catch one. Like, I don't have a problem catching them and landing them. It's when they miss it. And I set the hook and the fucking thing tumbles and it just gets fucking wrapped.
Yeah.
Hooks.
I kind of always like thumb my spool though. So a lot of times that doesn't happen.
What, when you miss a fish? How does thumbing your spool when you miss a fish?
He's talking about when they knock it out of the water and it flips over 100
Yeah, like my
Right,
thumb's
I go
always
and
like
hit it and I go like this. Like, my line's not moving. It's just I pulled the bait out of the water and the bait tumbled.
right. But if you're like thumbing your spool and you don't let your spool just blow up,
I'm talking about when I set the hook, not when I'm casting.
you're talking about having just the bait get wrapped up in
So when I cast
the
out,
leader line itself,
so I cast out, right?
or your spool blowing up.
Not the spool blowing up. No, I'm talking about
Okay,
the
I
bait
get
getting
it.
wrapped.
Now I get what you're saying. I thought you were talking about the spool blowing up.
No,
I'm like,
no.
why is your spool blowing up?
No, I don't have an issue with that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now I get it.
confused for a
Yeah,
second.
braid wraps up a lot more.
Yeah, and that's why I don't. And that's just why I don't like it. And I've never broke a fish off on mono. So, I mean, I throw heavy mono when I'm throwing it. So
I don't like mono's memory.
the only thing that I like about braid over mono is I cast it farther. So if I need to make like bomb casts, I'll throw it on braid.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't like tying leaders. So I could avoid that tying a leader. And a lot of people say, hey, tie like a 12-inch section of 20-pound mono, at the front to keep it, to keep that line away from the hooks. To me, that's just an extra failure point.
I really think top water at the same time is about covering a lot of water. Walking baits, frogs, you want to make long casts.
Sometimes it depends on the cover that you're fishing. If I'm fishing a grass flat on a flood tide, yeah, absolutely.
I'll throw it on fluoro.
I want to bomb the fuck out of it, and I'm gonna, I'm trying to cover as much water as I can. I'm fishing it pretty quick. But there's other times that I'm throwing, I'll throw a spooker on laydowns. If the conditions permit and there's not a lot of grass, I'll throw a spooker on laydowns, and then it's just more about making that that target cast.
Mm-hmm.
So you can fish them different ways. It's just, but different circumstances, kind of delegate how I'm fishing it. But yeah, for the most part, around here, fishing, we're fishing grass flats. So you get that flood tide, you get, some water over top of the grass, good, decent amount of water over top of the grass. I want to bomb that spook as far as I can to cover as much water as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Until I really get, if I get it dialed into like a little area, then I'll slow down a little bit. But
I see Tiny's cast. Tiny's freaking throwing frogs like
As far as I possibly can.
a freaking football field.
That's like you cover more water.
I
Than
like
the
watching
water
it.
casts.
I like watching him miss the fish at the end of those casts too. That's really fun.
At the very, very end of the cast. Yeah.
He comes back to the ramp and doesn't talk to anybody because he's upset.
I watched it. Now they still ended up doing well in the tournament, but I watched Tony miss at least 3 fish because he was like bombing this thing out there like as far as he could, and he'd move it like one time and he'd be like, boom, and he'd gone and missed it.
Was this one of the Thursday nighters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one we were both out in the same area.
Oh yeah. I did miss a bunch that day.
That might have been. I don't know if that was the one. I don't think that was the one I won.
I don't think I have the balls to run on plane up into those spots anymore in the John boat. After all these storms, all the logs that I had like marked are all gone and switched positions, and I'm just like, I'm not willing to freaking risk the lower on the Yamaha to blow up in there anymore.
Me and Kevin were talking about this. Yeah, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. Like, I'm not running into the quarry canal anymore. Like, I fucked up my skeg. Kevin trashed a whole lower unit.
In the quarry canal?
Coming out of the quarry canal, in the flat, before you get into the quarry canal, having to run in. Like it's not worth it.
Yeah, it really isn't worth it. Like,
I mean, is it worth, any Thursday nighter is not worth trashing a $3,000 lower unit. So I stopped when I bent the Skagel, my new lower unit, like a month after I got it. I was like, yep, done running in here.
Yeah.
Unless there's times when I'll still run it because I have to, because I can't get out otherwise. It wasn't on a trolling motor, but I mean, I only need like this much fucking water to get on, get out on a trolling motor. I can make it, but it might take me a while.
sometimes
And
that's
I can
all
get
that's
some.
there. I mean, sometimes there's the
But-
amount of water that's there.
If I got this much water, game on. The last time that I fished down there, we actually went. We didn't even run into the quarry canal. We went into the Days Cove side and came up the Gunpowder. We fished up the Gunpowder. Me and Kevin were out. Fished up the Gunpowder, went back into the quarry, came back down the quarry canal, and
Was I out there with you guys that day?
no. Yes, that was the morning. You were out in the morning and you caught like 25 on one of Tyler's crankbaits.
Yes. Yeah.
And you came out for a little bit in the afternoon. We ran down the quarry canal a little, to the end, and then like I just idled out across that flat because it's not worth breaking your stuff. I mean, it's good fishing, but again, I ain't got an extra $3,000 laying around to replace a lower unit.
Right.
I'm pretty sure my insurance company hates me. So
I've run the canal going into the big Gunpowder before. Just one day I was coming through. I said, fuck it. I'm just going to run it and see what happens.
which one?
The little one. They
The
take you
one
from.
the one like Days Cove.
Yes,
This
that
one?
one.
I've ran that one before.
Yeah.
Wait. The cut through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ran that in a bass boat?
No, yeah.
So yeah, if you're coming in like you're going to the pond, instead of turning left to go to the pond,
Just cut right.
just go straight.
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not the little cut through, like not the one that we fished. The little shallower cut through, the one that's even more sketchy.
Yeah, like you go
Running
to the
through.
pond and then you hang that right up
I-
there.
Yeah, just like
Yeah,
go
oh,
straight.
yeah.
I've run into that little canal from the other side one time. Little flood time.
You got to watch the running up into the big. If there's two logs up there, if those
Yeah.
two logs weren't there, you could run all the way to the quarry. Well, not to the
Dude,
quarry.
when it is low, that is hard to run.
Yeah.
That sandbank almost comes all the way out to that freaking ledge.
I ran, so the little canal that I showed you this year, I ran in it from the other side one time in the Ranger.
I've never
I
ran.
did that a bunch of the John boat.
I've
That
never.
shit
I've never ran that one. I mean, I've trolling motored across there before. Usually, I came in from the other side and then troll with. I just fished my way back.
That's what I'm talking about with the John boat that I don't want to do anymore.
Oh, running that little. Yeah.
Run up into that canal right there because it's just, oh my god, I was smacking so many logs in there.
Just do the old river trick, the old Susquehanna River old timer trick. Just
Put the pitchfork
weld
on it.
the old pitchfork on there.
I thought you were going to say, if you don't see it, it's not there, so just run it anyway. Who was that? Tommy Biffle? If I don't see
Tommy
it, it's
Biffle,
not
if I
there.
don't see it, it's not there.
Right.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of shit that I know is there that you
Right.
can't see.
Exactly.
Then when the Elite Series got canceled here in like 2017,
Yeah,
he was and the water was super high in the river.
there was trees
He was
everywhere.
he was at the dam in his bass boat.
What? Why was it was chocolate milk the whole time?
So David Fritz actually, when I talked to him at Susquehanna Fishing Tackle out there at Bass Fest, after that, he said he thought he had to fish to win in the Susquehanna River cranking.
In the mud? What the fuck? Was he in Deer Creek? Because I'm thinking about what happens when that river gets really, really, really muddy.
No, he wasn't that far. Fritz wasn't that far up.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he was in stuff. He was fishing stuff that we normally fish.
Smallmouth?
Largemouth.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting. When is Bass Fest, by the way?
2 weeks.
Is it on the weekend or is it during the week?
It's Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, I might have to go up there. I have not been up there. I still have yet to be.
Bill Lowen's going to be there this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I like Bill. Bill Owen's like super awesome.
Yeah,
I
he's
like
gonna
him a
do-
lot.
Bill Lowen, Greg DePalma, Gray Buck, and then some mega bass guy.
Some mega bass guy.
And apparently Bass and Beer Radio will make an appearance between the three of us.
Not me. I'll be on Lake Anna, unfortunately.
You want to go? I'm going to try to go. I've never been up
It's
there.
14th and 15th of January.
I have so much leave I have to burn at work that I'm just looking for excuses to take leave at this point. So
Go. They do.
Fishing in the spring.
So they put up a tent outside. Like a big rented tent. That's heated. They have propane heaters that they put in there, and they have seminars out there all day.
no shit.
They do like 4 or 5 seminars throughout the day that are like an hour long.
Cool.
And they're all free. All the seminars are free. So
yeah.
you go in. They do a shit ton of like door prizes.
I'm guessing they have a bunch of sales and all kinds of stuff.
They'll have sales on stuff. They'll do you get a lot of like swag because a lot of the manufacturer reps are there.
Right.
So you'll get like, you'll buy like my buddy bought what did he buy? He bought like a Vanford or something, and
Ooh.
he got like two Shimano T-shirts and like a little Shimano bag and a Shimano hat.
Dude, that's worth more than the reel.
I actually like the one shirt. The one shirt was pretty cool. It was like a microfiber shirt and like a tuna, like a silhouette of a tuna.
It's like an official pro staff.
Right?
That reminds me, I do want to do the shirts for us. I just keep dropping the ball.
No worries.
So
I dropped the ball.
Yeah, that would be sick.
I'm a professional procrastinator, so
like get the shirt and the color like here, but it's like a little bit brighter to like match the color of the logo and shit. Yes, that color right there. In a hoodie, that would be awesome.
like a hooded sun shirt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Like the ABSCO ones that they give out of the
Yeah, Bass Fest. Anybody. I know we don't have too many people watching, but make sure you check out Bass Fest if you are available. Susquehanna Fishing Tackle, they're good dudes. It's a local business. I'm always
Support the local guys.
Yeah.
they sell fish finders up there.
That's where I bought my Lobscope transducer from.
Oh boy. Well, I should leave my debit card at home then because
I talked to George about. Sorry, I got distracted by a message. So I talked to George about the last time I was up there about the different live scope and mega live and stuff like that, and he said look, you get the Garmin, like with the amount of fishing that you do, like I know you're out all the time, you're gonna want Garmin. It's the best one out there. Spend the money and get it. So I didn't get my unit from them because I was looking for a specific unit that with the old transducer so that I could save myself $1,000, right? So I bought the unit, Russell Marine Products.
they're pretty good. I
Yeah.
like them.
Good people. I had to order something from them anyway, so I just bought they had the units, bought the units. I actually, Christmas Eve, I drove to Bass Pro Shops in Hanover, and I was going to buy it on Christmas Eve, and it said they had limited stock, and I got down there, they didn't have any. So
Nice.
I found a Russell Marine, ordered from them, and then figured, George helped me out a lot, and I'd figure if I'm going to spend $1,700, I'd rather spend it with a local tackle shop than, buying it online or some bullshit. It's not like I was saving any money by buying it online. They were fucking same price everywhere.
Right.
But I spend a lot of money up there every time I go there. It's like impossible. I can't walk out of there without spending less than like $250.
Yeah, that's why I don't know. That's why my trips to Bass Pro or whatever.
When I was up there Monday, I spent $1,800 up there on Monday, and I had a $100 gift card.
Damn.
That's after the $100 gift card.
I freaking
That's a lot of money.
I'm having a hard time making a decision in my mind right now, even though I know what I need, what the answer needs to be.
For what?
I want to put an upgrade on the boat when it comes back, but it's like I want to kind of put 360 on it or something like that, but then it would kind of be better to put poles on it.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like I feel like poles would be better before 360 or live scope.
I probably would have put 360 on before I put poles on, but I got a stupidly good deal on the poles, so I should go for those.
Yeah,
But you have
the
all
poles
tracks on
is holding
yours.
you. I have all tracks.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what's killing me right now is like I don't have
Poles
all
are
tracks
so
either.
poles. I will tell you, like the convenience factor of poles, like when you're docking your boat or you're dumping your boat in,
It's just worth having for that.
It makes owning a boat so much nicer.
Oh, I want to run an idea.
That's
by
what
you.
Steve says. He's like at the poles.
It makes it so much nicer.
So
like you don't, yeah. Steve wants the poles because he don't want to sit there and hold the fucking boat while you're parking the truck.
Yeah, I was like, poles or tires and wheels for the truck? And he was like, get the poles.
So you've been to my shore property.
Yeah.
Dude, I was thinking today, it's like, I wonder how much bank money I could make listing that on Airbnb. It's like a snakehead, like retreat.
Oh, you said shore property. I'm like, what do you?
Yeah, yeah.
That's not
Yeah,
sure. Keep going.
probably, dude. There's freaking giants back there.
Yeah, like it's, I mean, I don't know. Like I want to start fishing there, out of there more often because it's right there. You know, I have access to it. It's not like I have to play with Dundee
You
Marine.
gotta try to clear that grass out when it gets fucked up.
I need to dredge it out. Like really.
I mean, when I get bored fishing in Joppatown, I just fucking run down there. It only takes fucking 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
What to the Dundee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes so to get from the 6 mile an hour zone in Dundee to the ramp at Joppatown takes 16 minutes. That's counting the idle up the 6 mile an hour zone.
I'll put in the boat and just come from Mariner Point to your house to hang out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
honestly. Like the only thing that
It
sucks,
only takes 15 minutes from the fucking ramp.
It would probably take longer to drive.
the only thing that sucks
definitely
about
does.
launching at the shore house is that when low tide, you can't get the boat off the trailer. It's that shallow.
Mm.
That's why we want to drop down and just drive down there.
Dredge it. Just bring in a backhoe.
But it would be for your idea. It would be perfect. It doesn't. Because the tide doesn't matter because you got to figure a lot of those guys are going to be kayak guys,
right?
That just want a place to stay up here. They may be coming from like Southern Maryland or someplace like that,
Right.
or Pennsylvania.
Like it's not a
kayaks.
super nice place, but everything is there and everything works. Like a refrigerator works, put beer in it, water is there, and there's a shitter. Now the only thing that sucks is the shower is pretty gross, but all I would have to do is like fix it up, for a weekend. And it would be
Put a
fine.
couple of, you can put a couple of dollars into it. It's not like, if you can rent it, if you got to put $1,000 into it.
Oh, you would make that instantly.
You're going to make that back. If you're renting for $100 a night, which is pretty cheap for an Airbnb, I've found out. If it's $100, say, even if it's $50 a night, you get 20 days booked. That pays for the
Right.
the.
Oh, it would pay for the property. It would pay for the taxes on the property in a year.
Depending on, you gotta see how much you can get it booked out. Obviously, the nicer you can make it look, the more business you're gonna get. But there's things that you can do that don't cost a lot of money to makes shit look nice.
Right.
Shit like cabinets in my house looked like shit. Like they looked fucking old and weird. They just had like that old look to them. They didn't look. It cost us $200 for some paint and new hardware. Looks totally different. Like it looks like somebody like came in like professionally redid the cabinets.
I was debating on like.
So you have little things like that you can do. You can do. It's amazing what a little paint will do.
I was debating completely like restoring the house or like maybe tearing it down and rebuilding it and just over the years.
And just hermiting yourself there.
Well, yeah, pretty much. But like this is
That's what I would do. Hey,
this
Chad,
is
can you agree?
a Bud Latte for me, please. I was thinking about I could tear the whole thing down and put a triple wide on it. Like those triple wides are nice though.
Don't do that.
But it's affordable. And I own a banjo, so it works perfectly.
Or
Like,
I would depending on like what, if you're doing that like the Airbnb route, this wouldn't fly, but you could go for like one of those like tiny homes.
yes. So
if you're just using it as like a vacation place, like just like a little cabin to stay in.
That's all it is now, right?
Right.
So it's like, I mean, it needs work. So I'm going to buy the property out at some point. My uncle owns it, and basically he has no dependents. He has no heirs.
Sure.
I'm the only one else that uses it. We've talked about it. I'm either going to buy it from him or he's going to, give it to me or whatever. Either way, I'm going to end up with it. 15, 20 years down the road, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with it. I was looking at doing one of those prefab houses. Like, the only thing about the place is because it's a waterfront, you have to, like, the permits are just terrible to get. And the issue with it is that the house has a cesspool
Instead of a septic.
tank.
So it has to be drained.
It would have to be completely redone.
Well,
now-
is it like a holding tank?
No, so that's most likely what would have to be put in, would be a holding tank.
Sure.
It's expensive. It's expensive.
It is,
That's
because
super
you
expensive.
have to get it pumped out like all the time.
Not even that. It's just expensive as fuck to have it put in.
Right.
Much less the upkeep.
Oh, I mean, no
A
matter.
sand mount is a lot more expensive, but the upkeep is a lot less.
So I was looking into all of it, and no matter what, you're looking at spending anywhere from 15 to 25 grand to redo the septic system.
That makes sense.
Which, I mean, I would be willing to put 200 grand into the property of doing what I want to do. The issue is I would need to figure out what I can do, because it being waterfront, everything's a pain in the ass. Like, the house is small. You've been there. It's small. It's. I don't want to say it's neglected, but it hasn't been kept up on as much. I want to do as much as I can with it because it's right there. I mean, you're right on the water. Like you're saying, it's a 10-minute, 15-minute boat ride.
Dude,
drop
for
it down, like
to be able to, I don't know how much it would cost, but to like fix it up and have your house, it's like right on Dundee Creek. It'd
be pretty awesome.
pretty dope.
Right. And then I want to put in, like, if I could, a concrete ramp down to the boat, so I'm not pulling it out on mud and shit. Because, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a nice place to have, but you can't launch your boat at low tide. And you really can't kind of live there.
Get your ass to Headwaters.
Yeah, I know, really.
No,
too.
I'm good. It's too far to drive. Gas is too expensive.
Especially now, though, since that area has kind of come back a little bit, like, it's worth fishing over there now. Like, up until the last, we died.
We died.
Damn it. Oh no. The camera. It's broken. Is it coming back? Maybe. Technical difficulties, friends. Can y'all still hear us?
No.
No.
Maybe. I don't know.
If you can still hear us, let us
maybe,
know.
maybe through the mic because it's connected to
Refresh.
the thing.
So do I need to refresh?
Yeah. Oh,
Wait,
no,
no, I don't
you're
need to
good.
refresh.
You're
All
good.
right, we're back. Are we back though, or are we
we're
froze?
froze.
Oh,
Refresh.
We are
Wait a
currently
minute.
froze.
Try this.
Now refresh.
No, refresh.
Damn it.
Refresh.
Times. Oh god, it's not working.
Oh, belly. Damn it.
Paused.
Hold on. We're gonna work through this here.
We're currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Hold on, I got some
Do you have the Benny Hill music?
No.
Do you have any elevator music?
That's what I'm putting on right now.
just some hold music. Hey, and we're back.
Damn it.
Oh god.
And Chad almost had a sunbathe in his drink.
I'm still gonna I went through all the trouble to cue the elevator music, so I at least have to play a small portion of it.
Do it.
All right, hold on. There's a weird ad with a cat on my screen. This is super weird.
I keep looking at this every time I come over here.
The elevator music is, oh my god, and we are gone again.
Damn. Well, now that we have elevator music, we should be able to fix it quickly.
The camera's working. I blame Restream for this one.
This definitely seems like a restream issue.
Yeah, it's like the losing connection or something.
Should I refresh?
Try refreshing first. About what we're doing. Probably sounds like a monkey fucking football.
It's a good thing this beer is cold.
A monkey fucking football? Holy I like that. I'm going to have to use that one.
You ever heard that?
You've never heard of
No. Hey, Chad. What's worse than Greeks or Gina?
Excuse me?
What's worse than Greece or Gina?
Why you gotta make fun of Greeks?
Come on, Eileen. All right. Get it, Greece or Gina?
No.
And we're back.
And
for
we're back.
Another
Right,
45 seconds, and then it's probably going to shut off again.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
Now we're saved from Tony's bad jokes.
It was pretty bad. Hey, what the bodybuilders say when he ran out of protein? No way.
No way. No way, person.
Anyway,
Oh, God.
because all the dad jokes in my head started coming up, and like the other day I was riding my motorcycle, and I had a wheelie fun time. A wheelie fun. Okay.
What kind of show is this?
I don't know. We're in your house, aren't we? Enforce the damn rules. Why don't you?
So anyway,
What were we talking about?
I don't know.
Something about
Bass
something
Fest.
about polls.
We were way too serious about our conversations.
Oh, yeah.
For tonight.
What's
We
because
need to talk about. We need to talk about. Yeah, we need to talk about some bullshit.
What kind of bullshit can we talk about?
How about Greg Hall not being able to catch 5 fish?
I'm gonna let you do that
No,
because sometimes I host Robert.
Robert is in Wagner. Where's he at?
Host Robert.
What happened to Robert?
Robert's gone.
We have it's a new series called Where's Robert? Like Where's Waldo? But
Robert currently is dealing with a water main break. so
Yeah,
that sucks.
that does
I
suck.
do not envy him right now. Yeah, I don't know. So
The boat is.
I gotta.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
have you heard any updates on your boat at all recently?
It's in Arkansas.
Okay.
I got a message.
That's what I know.
I got a message from the house next door to me is for sale. And I got a message from someone in the bass fishing community asking about said house. So his girlfriend were looking at it.
Is it Kevin?
It is not Kevin.
Damn it.
Kevin just bought a house.
Is it somebody cool? Is it somebody that we like?
Oh, it's somebody that doesn't think 15 pounds is very much.
Interesting.
Oh,
Wow. Cool. Well, that sounds cool.
Regardless, like I don't have a problem with.
No,
yeah, dude,
cool, dude.
I'm buying a rod from Vic.
Let's
Boxing?
talk about boxing fish, not in the tournament, just for picks.
Okay. Spicy.
I will go right in on that, Rob.
Spicy.
If you have to box 5 fish just so you can take a fucking hero picture at the end of the day, you're a fucking douchebag.
Now, what
That's all
about?
that's all there is to it. You can take a picture of a fish and let it go and not have it ride around your fucking live well all day just because you're out there fun fishing. You want to take that fucking hero picture at the end of the day.
Now, what if you put one in the box? Is
What
it
if you
big?
catch all of them in 1 hour and then let them go?
You don't know. You have no idea that you're going to catch 5 fish. In,
What if you give
in
yourself a
an hour.
limit after an hour? I gotta let it go.
If I'm out fun fishing, I'm not putting the fish in the box.
That's a bold statement. I'm not from you because there's a lot of people in this bass fishing community that do that. Oh, there's a lot.
I know.
Like,
Don't get me wrong. I may have overreacted a little bit there. I'm not saying that everybody who does that is a douchebag. That's a very egotistical thing to do.
I can see that. I can see why you say that. I mean, I've done it before. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I haven't. Not 5 fish, but I've done. I put like if I'm catching them, like, and I know I'm catching them, I'll put a couple in the box, take a picture, and let them go. But they don't ride around all day. Like,
Why
if
do you
I
think
know,
it's okay for you to do in a tournament.
So if I'm doing it in a tournament, I have to take it in a weigh-in. I don't have to take a fish in my live well to the dock to take a picture of it.
Why are you taking it back to the dock?
Well, taking it wherever. Like, I don't have to take it anywhere to take a picture of it. I can take a picture of it right now.
Mhm.
right? So if I'm fishing in a tournament, like I have to go back to the dock to weigh my fish in.
But why does that make it okay?
Because I can't weigh it in unless I go back to the dock. Like,
So it's okay just because the tournament says so.
I'm saying that it needlessly putting them in the live well just so you can take your hero picture is
Interesting take.
Um,
but okay. As there's thousands of bass fishermen
Well,
tournament fish carrying 5 giant fish everywhere across every lake, dumping them everywhere. When some guy takes a picture of 5 fish and then releases them in the same spot they were caught in, they're a douchebag.
well, hold on.
how many of those fish are being released in the same spot they're caught in?
Every time I've done it, they've been released back in the pond where I caught all of them.
I can tell you that every one of the, and I'm not counting you into that because I've actually never seen you take a 5 fish picture. I've seen you with
like 2 or 3 times.
I only do it with 2. That's
and
it.
everyone that I've seen do it. It is in a completely different location than they caught them because they don't want anybody to fucking see where they caught them.
Right.
I just think
it's also very easy to freaking change that.
I just think I think it's unnecessary. I'm not saying that it's any. I'm saying that unnecessary boxing of fish is not cool in my opinion.
It's not good for fish.
I agree. It's not good for them.
That being said,
so
there's a 5 fish limit on bass. You can put 5 fish in your live well and do whatever the fuck you want. I don't agree with it, but it's better than you taking them home and frying them up.
So what's worse, taking a hero picture and letting them go, or pulling them off this bed during a spawn in a tournament?
So I can tell you that I have read multiple research studies on fishing during the spawn, and not a single one that I have read. I'm not saying there's not one out there. Not a single one that I have read has shown any detriment to fish populations by allowing fishing during the spawn.
Oh, I haven't seen one either. I think it's more of the premise, which again, this is more of a premise.
I definitely don't agree with
because
tournament
you're not going to find an article that says putting 5 fish in your box, taking a picture, and letting them go is harming the fish population.
But you're not actually getting
and then you're going to take 5
that.
freaking spawning pregnant females and take them over to the freaking Havity Grace and dump them out.
Well, you have people
or Northeast and dump them out when you took them from Joppa. When you take fish from freaking Joppa, which is a very small fishery as it is, and then you take spawning fish out of it and put them somewhere else, that's hurting a fishery.
It depends on how you look at the fishery. Are you looking at the fishery as the upper bay, or are you looking at the fishery as the gunpowder?
If you're taking it from Havity Grace to Northeast, it's like
because most bass fishermen are looking at most bass fishermen across the country. The gunpowder is not a fishery; that's a creek.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it is and it isn't, right? Like,
I mean,
in a club tournament, sure, you can fish it, right? But in a bigger tournament,
I fished a creek on Sam Rayburn that was bigger.
There was a pretty big tournament, then a pretty good amount of professionals fished it.
For what?
Yeah,
it's a creek. Right. That's what I'm saying. It's a creek.
Right.
Now,
it's part of it. I'm just saying it's part of a fishery rather than it being a fishery.
Like there's creeks on Smith Mountain Lake that are bigger than.
I mean, there are local. I mean, I fished a creek on one creek on Sam Rayburn that was bigger than.
I don't give a shit about getting paid. I give a shit about fishing.
It was bigger than like Middle River, Gunpowder, and the Bush combined. One creek. Like this one creek was like the size of like those 3 rivers, So for a lot of the country, like the Gunpowder is just another creek, like that's just a little creek in a fishery.
Yeah.
With the Upper Chesapeake Bay being the fishery. So if you look at the fishery as a whole, fishery's not hurt, from a whole. Now, can there be localized? And this has less to do with the spawn because I don't have any research that I've read about, relocating during spawn, but for like smaller areas, I did read a study that said if bass are moved more than 40 miles from where they were originally caught, there's only like a 4% chance that they'll return back to that location.
Mhm.
So if it's a long
40
area,
miles is a long way.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's the
think
run
of-
from Dundee to the flats.
no,
pretty
it's
much.
not. Run the Dundee to the Flats
Is it less than
It was
that?
like 27 miles.
Okay.
And it might have been it may have been less than 40 miles. I can't now. I'm second guessing myself because I can't remember the exact number. But anyway, fish over a certain distance away from where they're caught will rarely ever return. But if it's like if it's 20 miles or less, like 85% of those fish return to where they were caught.
It blows my mind that you could take a fish that was like born in one area and has never left that area and take it 30 miles away and put it somewhere, and it'll just be like,
It'll make its way.
I
back.
know where I have to go. I've never driven this car before,
Yeah.
but I know
Isn't
where I
that-
have to
isn't
go.
that crazy?
Like,
So are we saying that all those smallmouth that are brought down to Dundee to weigh in end up making their way back to the Susquehanna?
I don't know. I
I
have
will-
a hard time believing that.
So
I
do.
agree.
back in the early 2000s, there was
Yeah, just like salmon.
there was a
I mean, he's got a point though. Like,
Yeah.
they did a like a not a tag study, like a sonar, or not a sonar study, but like a radio tag study
That
on
would
some bass that were released.
Yeah.
This was in the early 2000s. One of my old friends who passed away was telling me about it. They tracked a bass that was caught I think it was caught in the bush, and it was released in the Northeast. And within 24 hours, it was halfway back to the bush.
no shit. No shit.
That's crazy.
We
Yeah, but
should
what about
like,
all those
isn't that
fish
crazy?
you
Can we
know?
share that? Can we
And
find that and
everybody's
share it on
guilty
the
of it.
page?
Everybody knows that after the local tournaments come through and dump all those fish at the local docks at Northeast and at Tidings,
Well, why
Park,
do-
people come through, and then for days after that, you can pick bass out off those pylons and everything.
Sure, the bass are going to hang around. They're going to, they definitely stay in an area for a couple of days and then they start moving out. That's why you get, like in the Northeast, like most of your fish end up, after like a big tournament.
Northeast
like
also has a higher population because of this.
I was getting ready to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back in I will take it back to the early 2000s. The Northeast sucked. It was not a good fishery. It was, there were fish there. It wasn't good. Rob, actually, I'm sure Rob remembers this. Rob did a lot of fishing back in those days. It probably remembers the Northeast just not being good until they started running a lot of tournaments out of it. And I think a lot of that comes from not just, relocating fish, but they get transplanted there and there's bait, there's structure. Why do they leave?
Right.
why
Oh,
do they-
yeah.
No, I'm not
It's
saying-
like the forbidden zones. Like, why go anywhere?
Right. There's bait there all year. I mean, there's fish in the even if they leave the Northeast, they go to the flats. What are they going to skip over the flats and go and
They
go
have
and
to,
go
have
to
to
the
go
flats or
past
something?
so much shit to get back to where they would. If they, assuming they're caught from another river, they have to pass so much good stuff to get back there. Like,
Yeah, I maybe not 40 plus boats, Rob, but I do think that the larger tournaments that are capable of having release boats, like the BFLs and I know the Bass Open did.
that way they can put them all back in Middle River, right?
So yeah, I mean at least some of them got spread out. I
True.
mean those fish from Middle River are just gonna swim to the gunpowder anyway, so I don't know why they can bother releasing them down there. But like the BFLs don't use a release boat. Those are 150 boat tournaments. Some of the I'm not gonna crack down on the local guys like Chester County, because it's a local. They're it's a local club.
Those
ramp
guys aren't
tournament.
really running that. I mean, you might get one or two boats out of 100 that run south.
Yeah, but like the Bass Opens, the BFLs, the ABAs, I mean the ABAs use release boats, so I can't really knock them. They at least take them out past the 6 mile an hour zone to release them, so they don't get released right there in
Right.
the in the marina. The Bass Opens did a good job. BFLs do not. They release them right at the ramp. It's a 150 boat tournament. Everything gets released right at the ramp. They should have release boats, at least take them out part way. You know, they don't have to take, I'm not saying they got to take them all the way out to like the mouth of the Northeast, but at least take them out past the 6 mile an hour
Just
zone
take them all
where there's good depth. You know, there's 6 to 8 feet of water out there. You know, you have good depth. It's good oxygen. It's not a little fucking cove where, you know, the oxygen depletes and it gets hot real quick.
They should take them down to the chop tank, release them down there.
But if anything, Rob, you make a good point, and you know, in one of those tournaments, you know, 500 fish. You know, if you have a 150 boat tournament, you got 500 or more fish coming out of there. But to speak to the quality of the fishing in the Upper Bay, 500 plus fish come out of there every year, and it doesn't change.
Every other weekend.
I mean, it gets pounded on for weeks, and you can still go back there the next year and just whack the hell out of them. I mean, they're going to move in there.
Until they don't.
They're going to move in there until something keeps them from not moving in there. Swan Creek is like your stereotypical first spawning area.
Yep.
You know, it's where the water warms up faster in there. Their fish from the flats are going to move in there. The fish in the Northeast, most of the fish released in the Northeast are going back to the flats. It's not that far. They know where they're going. They're going to go back out to the flats. Those fish winter out in some areas out on the main river. Those fish, as soon as springtime hits, they're going into Swan Creek. They're either going to Swan Creek or they're going to the first grass on the flats. They're going one of those two areas. You can catch them in Swan Creek. You know, I don't know if I'm putting up a little too much juice here, but you can catch fish in Swan Creek in February in a foot and a half of water. It's not because they winter there. It's because that's where they're spawning. Like, they're setting up to spawn. You know, that's the first place that they're moving. They're going to move back in there. They're always going to move back in there because Swan Creek warms up faster. It's mostly north oriented, so it gets sun most of the day. Water warms up faster. Water's always going to be a little warmer in there in the spring.
It's in that freaking cove.
Yep.
You know,
it's protected.
It's like Furnace, same reason. Not as much in Furnace, but same type of deal.
Well, Furnace doesn't warm up as quick because it's just because of the way it's set up.
And there's
Swan
Creek.
If you think about it, like that's true as well. So, well, you know, that's a good thing. You know, over the last 5 years or so, we as fishermen have gotten better at taking care of our fish. You know, live wells and boats have gotten better. We've got aerators in live wells now. You know, we have G-Juice and Rejuvenate and all of these supplements that we can put in the water to help keep our fish healthy too. I did not lose a fish this year.
I lost.
However, last year, I lost multiple fish last year for various reasons. One tournament, my co-anglers, his fish knocked my aerator tube out. So it wasn't creating any oxygen. It was just recycling, you know, the water, it was just flowing. So it wasn't creating any oxygen. I ended up losing a couple fish. I lost 2 fish that day, and I lost another fish randomly. Like, I have no idea why. So, but this year, I didn't lose a fish this year.
are you using that juice stuff?
All the time. I use it every single tournament. I spend so much money on that shit.
Do you put
because I dump the fuck out of it in there.
You put ice in your live well too?
No.
Or just G-Juice and recirculate it all day?
G-Juice and recirculate all day.
Do you run the pump all day or have it on the timer?
I run it all day.
Do you have to put more G-Juice in later on in the day?
No.
See, I'm always
because it's the same water.
I'm always afraid that it's going to kill my
by it.
battery, but like, I don't think it draws enough battery to kill your battery.
I can run all of my fish finders, my 360, my hydro wave, and my pumps in an 8-hour tournament and not drain my battery.
And you have that? Is that hooked up to your cranking battery?
Mm-hmm. I don't have room for another battery, so
we got this. We set it up the same way.
And my live scope's going to be connected to that as well. So now I'm going to have to do a little mount management. Yeah, Rob, me and Rob have fished quite a few tournaments together, so we've caught some good. Me and Rob caught some good bags. We won a lot of money together. Fair amount of money for the few tournaments that we fished together.
And we're gone.
Why does it keep doing that?
I don't know.
I feel like is it just like the connection in here?
The elevator music's a really nice touch. Do we have to refresh?
No, hang on.
Wait for it.
Say when.
Camera connection error.
It might still work.
You just let me know when you want me to press the refresh.
Oh, it was working and I touched it.
Maybe we should just end the episode and I'll order a new cable.
4th floor, please. That's awesome. Oh, man.
Oh,
What? I didn't even hit refresh.
it's the cable.
Yes, it's the cable. Paul, just stand there and hold that.
I'm just gonna stand here like this.
Nice.
It's a very nice touch. I think we need to add that into
We
the.
should. What happened?
I
Oh, we
Oh,
froze.
Paul sat down and it froze.
let go of the cable.
Oh boy, oh boy. This is weird. Is it the cable or is it the port of the cable?
It's the cable.
Okay.
Probably the cable.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to wrap this up and
Yeah, let's just wrap it up and then we'll come back to it
That's what
next
she
week when we have a new cable.
Yay!
we'll try to get Rob to the 4th floor here and we'll see what happens.
20
Go-
mode for a little snakehead tournament.
Whoa!
I'm down.
I
I would
even
do it.
fish for snakeheads.
No, but I would do it. I just
I mean, I do it
the whole
too.
time.
Tony would just go out and frog
Fishing with
fish
Rob.
like he always does.
Right.
Just hope he catches the snakes.
I would just have to frog fish in a completely different area.
Me and Rob have a good track record in snakehead tournaments. We fished one tournament and we were 3rd place.
Was that the Dundee one?
Yeah,
I would try.
we should have won.
Didn't the guys that win that won it out of Days Cove, like Days Cove actual?
No,
No.
fucking Nick Rogers and Tom Over won it.
Oh, I heard it was one out of Days
No,
Cove.
they were in Dundee.
Oh, cool.
Dude, those dudes are straight
They
up.
didn't even start the
hammers.
boat,
Yeah.
probably.
No,
I've
they
never caught a snakehead in Dundee. It's like quite annoying because I know that there's thousands of them.
We caught all. That's where we caught all of ours too. We caught all
Tons of
ours in Dundee.
snakehead in Dundee.
God, there's so many. I'm trying to think how many I caught one day when I was down there. I was when I blew my boat motor up. I had my kayak.
This is what it's going to be like when we're on Spotify and nobody can see anything.
I know, right? There's a bunch of guys bullshitting.
Right.
They were in Seneca, Rob. They were in Saltpeter. I know exactly where they were.
Well,
Yeah. Anyway, one day I was down there. It was when I had my kayak. When I blew my boat motor up, and like I paddled like all the way out to fucking Super Cove, which is like fucking like 2 miles out to like out, all the way out at the end, like the last point before you get to the gunpowder. And, dude, I caught like fucking like 17 snakeheads in like 2 hours. It was fucking insane.
Those things are fun to catch on top water.
yep.
Caught some nice bass that day too.
All right, everybody. We are wrapping it up. We will see you next week.
That's what she said.